Lisa, you have turned the back of that order slip into a tiny city map. Is that our neighborhood or a plan to escape before the lunch crowd arrives?
Both. I am drawing the coffee shop, the bookstore, and a pizza place that serves one perfect slice through a little window.
I like that your imaginary city has food before it has traffic lights.
Traffic lights are useful, but a warm slice is a public service.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to CafeTalk. It is Friday, August 14.
Friday feels right for a small dream map. Mine just needs a bigger corner for dessert.
Today, we have a Brooklyn father and teenage son opening a pizza place, a close look at hotel costs in the UK, and an unusual first flash from a dying star.
Food, receipts, and outer space. That is a very ambitious breakfast conversation.
We turn global news into natural, everyday English conversation, so you can practice listening and shadowing for 10 minutes a day.
No textbook voice required. Just bring your coffee, your curiosity, and maybe a pen for one new phrase.
Subscribe if you would like a new cafe chat each day.
We will keep the news serious when it needs to be, but we will not make your morning feel like homework.
Today's keyword is under the surface, spelled UNDERTHESURFACE.
I like that one. It sounds like there's a whole basement under my little pizza window drawing.
We use it when there's more happening than we can see right away.
Like when someone says they are fine, but their backpack zipper is fighting for its life.
Exactly. Let's look at what's under the surface in today's stories.
I am ready, as long as the star does not ask me to do math before my second coffee.
Our first story comes from Brooklyn, where a father and his teenage son opened a neighborhood pizza place called Jules Pizza in late July.
A father-son pizza shop already sounds like the kind of place where everyone argues lovingly about the right amount of cheese.
The article says the restaurant is named for Jules, the teen co-founder.
That is brave in a sweet way. His name is on the door, so every slice probably feels a little personal.
The menu includes round pies, square pies, and slices, along with other familiar pizzeria food.
Good. A neighborhood pizza place should understand that some days you want a whole pie, and some days you are holding a bag and need one slice now.
Eater described it as a corner pizzeria in Bensonhurst, built around a long list of choices.
A long menu can be stressful, but at a pizza place it feels like an invitation to come back next week and try a different slice.
The visible part is easy to picture: a sign, an oven, and people carrying boxes home.
Under the surface, there is probably someone checking dough, someone wiping tables, and someone deciding whether the napkins are in the right place.
The story does not give us their full work schedule, so we should not invent it. But opening a local restaurant clearly asks for many small decisions.
That is why I love small shops. You can sometimes feel that actual people chose the music, the counter, and the extra chili flakes.
Jules also has a large following on TikTok, according to the article.
So he may have people online cheering for the opening before they ever smell the pizza. That's a modern kind of neighborhood support.
It could help people discover the place, but a following is not the same as knowing how the first busy Friday will go.
Right. A video can make me hungry at midnight, but it cannot carry a stack of hot boxes to the door.
What I like is the scale of the story. A teen and his dad made a real place where local people can stop for food.
And I hope the first person who buys a slice notices the care under the surface, even if all they say is, "Extra napkins, please."
HotStats says UK hotels saw TRevPAR rise 2% in the first quarter of 2026, while labor costs rose at nearly twice the pace of revenue growth.
So the headline arrow points up, but the cost arrow is chasing it almost twice as fast. That would make me check the whole receipt before celebrating.
That gap matters because a 2% revenue rise does not show the whole profit picture.
2% sounds like a nice little upward arrow until another arrow is running in the other direction.
Right. The upward revenue arrow does not erase the faster rise in labor costs.
So a fuller lobby does not automatically mean a fuller wallet. More guests can also mean more work behind every clean room and breakfast tray.
Exactly. The article argues that revenue alone does not show the whole picture of profit.
I get that. If I sell all my old clothes online but pay too much for shipping, I cannot celebrate the number at the top without checking what stays with me.
Utilities show another mixed picture. The report says utility costs per available room were down 3.7% overall, but water costs were up 10 to 12% on average. That is such a strange household feeling. One bill gets calmer and another bill decides it wants to be the main character. In some UK regions, the article says water costs were up as much as 20%. Which means managers cannot relax just because one number looks better. The quiet costs may still be tapping on the window. The report also points to early check-in offers as one-way hotels can create extra value before a guest even arrives. I would pay for that after a red-eye flight. A shower and a place to put my bag can feel more luxurious than a fancy lobby lamp. It also mentions wellness-focused room upgrades as another possible source of revenue. That makes sense if it's useful, not just a bowl of sad lemons beside a brochure. So the lesson is not simply charge more, it's to understand which choices actually help the business keep more of what it earns. Under the surface of a busy hotel, every towel, shift, and early check-in can connect to that bigger question. In March 2026, Einstein Probe detected a brief X-ray flash. Follow-up identified SN 2026-GFZ as a broad-lined Type 1c supernova, with the flash seen as a shock breakout and no gamma-ray burst or relativistic jet found.
That is a lot to take in from one opening clue. With the burst and jet missing, the story already feels more like a mystery than a neat answer.
The flash came from a galaxy about 500 million light-years away.
500 million light-years is so far that my brain turns it into sparkles and gives up.
Follow-up observations identified the event as a broad-lined Type 1c supernova, later named SN 2026-GFZ.
That name sounds like a Wi-Fi password from space, but the story itself is amazing.
Researchers think the first X-rays were a shock breakout. That is when the blast wave from a collapsing star reaches the star's surface and releases its first radiation.
So the first flash is like seeing the moment a hidden storm finally reaches the outside of a house.
That hidden storm image fits the shock breakout interpretation of the brief X-rays.
If a clue in my kitchen were that brief, I would miss it while opening the fridge. I'm impressed this story begins with such a short signal.
The team expected a gamma-ray burst or a relativistic jet, but they did not find either one.
I love that the universe can still say, nice guess, but today I'm doing something else.
The observations also found several shells of material around the star, likely thrown off before the explosion.
That feels like finding old rings in a tree, except the tree is a star and the rings are floating in space.
The team thinks those shells were released before the explosion.
So the star had already left material around itself before the main event. That makes one bright flash feel like only the front page of the story.
That front page idea works. The team saw the shells around the star and linked the early X-rays to the shock breakout.
That makes me want to look up at the sky tonight, even if I only manage to find the moon and one airplane.
Your tiny map at the start of the show now feels bigger than I expected, Lisa.
It has a pizza window, a hotel lobby, and one tiny star in the corner. My drawing needs more paper.
Today we met a father and son building a local pizza place, hotel teams looking beyond revenue, and astronomers catching a star's first flash.
3 very different stories, but none of them were only about the thing we could see first.
That brings us back to under the surface. It is a reminder that more can be happening beneath what looks simple at first.
A slice can carry a family project. A full hotel can still face pressure. And one flash can hold a star's long goodbye.
For our small request today, which story or change made you notice work under the surface and why?
I choose the hotel story. I see a busy lobby and assume everything is fine, but the costs behind it can tell a different story.
I choose the pizzeria. A new sign can look simple, but it represents two people turning an idea into a place for their neighbors.
That is why your answer does not need to sound formal. Tell us what you noticed and what it made you think about.
Leave your answer in the comments so we can keep bringing you conversations you enjoy.
Any language is totally fine, and even just an emoji works.
If you enjoyed today's chat, please hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for tomorrow's episode. Bring your coffee again. I may bring a larger piece of paper and finally draw the traffic lights. Thank you for spending part of your Friday with us. See you tomorrow,
And notice the good work happening under the surface.